This meeting of the Board of Penn Township Supervisors will come to order Wednesday, September the 24th, 2014. We will stand and pledge allegiance for a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Okay.
First off, I'd like to announce that Solicitor Wagner was here earlier this afternoon. He has a meeting. He had to be at 6 o'clock. So if there's any important matters of anything to come up that need to be, I could give him a cell phone call and he would step outside where he's at to address the issue if it's of that great of importance. He was in and went over some things today for tonight, and while he was here and looked at what was on the agenda and left his ideas on some of the things here will be addressed tonight. Like report since last month, there was no executive session. Although I do have something I would like to address the same as I did last month. Last month, I questioned Helen heavy in regards to where she relayed to Mr. Peters that she can't answer anything like he stated that he calls in. She always has to answer me or ask me. Now, I can't remember doing that, and she knows that I always say that the other supervisors are notified. So I'd like Helen to address that particular issue tonight as to where and when she knows that she made that statement to Mr. Peters that you got to see Henry about everything.
Yep. The first time was with the letter from the DA. I did. I know I stated that at that time.
And did you ever come to me and ask me about that?
Yes.
About what I'd done with that letter?
Yeah, I confirmed that I gave it to you. It's what I asked you. And you said you gave it to the appropriate authorities.
I passed it on. That is correct.
Yes.
Okay, now whether you relayed that back or not, but she would have no idea. So in all fairness, Helen made that statement that she'd have to ask me, and that's the reason why she asked me, because she didn't know.
Okay. The other time I remember doing it was when you asked me about my personnel file, to seeing it. I did not know the answer then if I could give it just to you or not. I mentioned it to Henry. I really believe you said you didn't have a problem with that.
But it should come up for a vote.
It should have,
That's
but I
correct.
did not know that until after I already given it to you to look at.
Has to be voted upon.
Yeah. I realized that in May when I saw it in the Township News. And the other time was when Mrs. Pottinger came in and gave information for you gentlemen. And you asked me if I sent it to Rich. And I said, no, I have to talk to Henry because Henry had told me that he was going to talk to Rich and I wanted to see if he'd talk to him first before I just send it in blank. If there's any other time I said it, please let me know so I can address it. Because I don't remember any other times.
Well, Helen, unfortunately, there was more times than that. I didn't feel that I had to cover my butt with you or with the board, but apparently I have to. Okay, so from this date on, anytime I have a conversation, will be noted and dated of the conversation. But I can tell you here before all the citizens of this township, there is plenty of times I have called Helen and she's referred, I need to check with Henry first. But unfortunately, I don't have those dates and those times because I didn't feel I had to sit there and make notes of every conversation I've had with you. But believe me, other two supervisors and you, Helen, from here on out, I will be making notations, dates and times I have spoken to you, just so there's confirmation. And there's no question about the integrity of an individual or individuals. Thank you.
No,
And I asked Helen how she would know that that was the only date. She tells me she keeps a telephone log, or she keeps a log of all those conversations.
I keep a log of who
Yeah.
calls in and the generic,
Portion of it, what it's about.
yeah.
Okay. The other issue was I got questioned about what was taking place also during that conversation in regards to the mistakes in the office in regards to an office manager would stop us from being involved in lawsuits or costing lawsuits out there. And I questioned Helen where and what we have spent and where are these lawsuits at, and to the best of my knowledge, I know of none. And I don't know of any that exist at the present time that's been going on or has cost us money recently in regards to it. The only thing you have is some appeals from the zoning hearing.
The conditional uses.
The conditional use hearings, yes.
Mhm.
There's something there, but there's no lawsuits out there, which people question me thoroughly on.
No.
Or lost cases due to your mishandling of paperwork and dates.
And those were the appeals.
Those were
There
the
were appeals, okay?
Yes.
So they are costly.
And the
Yes.
cost for those at the date, just for those that would like to know, or what, Helen?
350, 450.
I
didn't
asked
add
her
it.
to dig those up,
I digged them up, I just didn't add them up.
okay?
$1,700 for the Morrisons. $375 for DeBurke. $900 for Perdix, and $256 for the NACE appeal, right to know appeal.
Okay. That's the monies that have been spent.
In the
on-
last
on
2 years,
those- On
yes.
those appeals, that's correct, okay. One other one other issue that I want to bring to the forefront is, and I see we have our news reporter here, and I would like to address the issues that are in the letter to the editor submitted by James Fickles. And on the issue of it, and the fact, the newly elected Supervisor Brian Peters made a motion during February the 26th, 2014 board meeting. They asked the district attorney for guidelines on how to address this situation. If you go back into our minutes, you will find that he made a motion seeking legal advice from the district attorney as providing a list of names for which to choose an independent counsel. Altogether, two different things compared to what's in print in the paper. So that was what was asked for someone to take a look at, to give names for independent counsel. Those come out of the February minutes, February 26, 2014. The other issue that's in there, we have further on, and there was some concern from Duncannon Borough members and myself on a read. We understand that a member of the Duncannon Borough Council filed a right-to-know request for a copy of the township's employee handbook. That is incorrect. You filed a copy it says the right to request no form is right there, personal nature as mayor and a potential borough candidate. So I was questioned by Duncannon Borough as to which borough employee or which borough council asked for that right. That never happened as a borough council member. Therefore, I want you to know there's no division or there's no hard feelings between Penn Township and the borough, and that's just like starting to drive a wedge between the pair. So there is a difference between the township's employees handbook and what he asked for. And he asked for police department policy, rules, regulations, field training guidelines, manuals, and related documents, which Richard Wagner has solicited and included the section where those issues are not something that is right to know. That appeal that was brought up has been accepted by the pathonetary, has been up there. Rich pursued it. Administratively, it hasn't got to where it goes in regards to that. The other issue on back to the perjury claim, where we get back to this individual thing with the Pickles thing up front. The letter that came in here, yes, I received that letter one more time, addressed to me, forwarded, but I also knew from that letter that we received it via fax the day before into this office. Our right-to-know officer, Helen, at least I think had enough knowledge in her head to know that that information was right-to-know information. She handled that properly. That was upheld at the highest level of the right-to-know. She has that documentation there when that was denied. And that was handled properly. She signed it, I signed it as a witness only to her name as her, the right-to-know officer. So I just want that to be known that that was upheld. Now, I understand, according to what you hear and what's in here, that a right-to-know was granted to the district attorney, and I guess he granted that letter to certain people. I haven't seen it, haven't been told that, but that's what I hear. If that's so, then the problem is the district attorney decides to override the right-to-know officer, that this information should be out there, and the right-to-know officer says, that's something between the DA and the right-to-know officer. If the DA has the right to override him, then I guess he can do what he wants to or as he feels. This office handled it correctly. It was done properly and the way it was supposed to be done. Those manuals there, Greg, you know, I used to attend an awful lot of borough meetings. I haven't been down there for a long time, but I remember years back when you were mayor, I remember that there was an incident, and we did it here, the same thing. We have a full-time police officer. We do not have a schedule, which we give the state police because they know there's people here 24/7. But when we didn't have part-time, we forwarded that information to the state police so they knew how to provide their coverage for when we have people on duty. And I remember there was a resolution that information for the Duncannon Borough, which didn't want to be released when they asked for it, to give to the state police. I believe there was a resolution years ago directing you not to give it to them, but to the state police. I may be wrong in that, but it runs heavy in my memory that I was there when that took place. But that being said, it's also information that I'm sure that you would take a look at today, that you wouldn't forward out to the public either, the manual. And you think it isn't serious, fellas? We got state troopers hunting all over this state right now for someone that shot a state trooper. And you don't give out names of who's on duty, what's on duty, and when they're on duty out to the public. It is information that should not be out there. And
Nothing of
so,
that request was relevant to a schedule.
yeah, okay, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know that you didn't ask for, you asked for the police thing, not the township employee handbook.
Correct.
And that's not what it says in this article here, and I wanted to correct that. So I'll leave it at that. I don't care, and I believe in our press, and I believe in the news media, and I also believe what should be in there should be the truth. That's the reason for those corrections on those particular matters. Recognition of visitors.
Mr. Gauss? Mrs. Gauss?
Yeah.
Craig?
Just thank you on the EMS behalf to the township and the supervisor in attendance this evening. Should there be anything you need from us, please let us know. I don't have a written report or any raw updated information, but should there be anything, we're still waiting to hear from Henry from his request now 2 months ago, relative to a meeting, hopefully in a public session, to go over their questions and concerns with the 2013 report.
Going through my paperwork today, I said to Helen, right there it is. Busy, but I'll get there for you before the end of the year, Craig.
We look forward to answering those questions.
Yeah.
On the indication on the Borough Council request, I was very specific, and I have all the paperwork in case anyone in the room would like to see it. I think Sean might actually have it. I know Mr. Fickle does, in reference to my request of the township, which was initially denied by the township, appealed to the Office of Open Records. The Office of Open Records did not uphold the appeal. They actually granted my appeal, and that's the office I think you've called the highest level in the Office of Open Records. However, the appeal process for that office is to the Perry County Court of Common Pleas.
Right.
Your solicitor then petitioned Perry County Court of Common
That's
Pleas on the township's behalf to overturn the Office of Open Records in Harrisburg, that highest level, to overturn that appeal, the granting of that appeal, and rule in their favor. That was in January, I believe January 21st or 22nd, and to date, the Perry County Court of Common Pleas hasn't done anything with that. I'll also offer that in that request, as you read it, I think you have the written document there, there was no indication or no request for anything relative to the schedule. I'm not looking to see who's working. You claim that they're 24/7 coverage, and we'll take that for what it's worth. However, there were some requests for some data that certainly could be redacted and provided as a public record. The Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association publishes a sample police manual, and the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors, in their administering local police services classes, recommend actually that the local municipalities, including second-class townships and boroughs, release most of the manual, with the exception of the pursuit policy and use of force policy, for public consumption, because it is a community police department. That is all indicated in my appeal, and certainly I'll be glad to expand upon that. I do have copies of the manual for that program, and I also have that sample manual from the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association. At the time of the initial request, November 2013, I was the acting mayor. I was the elected mayor, I should say. At the time of the denial by Penn Township, I was a borough candidate elect, a council member elect. However, I had not taken office, but at the time of the township's appeal to Perry County Court of Common Pleas, I was a member of Borough Council. So there were 3 different statuses at that time.
Yeah.
And I understand that there may be some semantics in the letter to the editor, but that certainly was not an article, but rather an opinion piece to the editor. So
Yes.
just wanted to clear up those things. I'm the one that made that request, and I'll gladly provide that request to anyone in the room who'd like to see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cece?
Not at this time, thank you.
Mr. Teves? Mr. Benner? Mr. Hilbush? Mrs. Carnes?
Not at this time.
Stanley?
Yes, I do. Henry,
Yes.
this is an issue that took place 2 years ago, actually. My approach,
Sure.
some paperwork. This took place 2 years ago. And when I heard about it, couldn't believe it. I didn't know if everybody had seen it, all the supervisors. I think it's really just me, the Chief Pickles. Hopefully everybody had seen this originally.
Thank you.
That part, I don't think when this happened. Yeah, I have some. Did you see that originally, Henry?
Hell, we got,
No, I wouldn't have opened this. It's addressed to the police department.
yeah.
Well, it is addressed to Officer Pickles in the police department.
And township supervisor.
And yes, the CCs were and township supervisors, Perry
I
County
don't-
District Attorney, President Judge Kathy Morrow, Lieutenant Charles Ringer from Newport Barracks, Pennsylvania State Constable Clark Steele.
I don't,
I heard about this incident, let it go for a long time, put in a right to know, got the paperwork. When the reorg meeting came up on January the 7th, 2013, I sat back here and bit my tongue, wish I wouldn't have. And the reason that is Officer Pickles put the police officers off of probation. This happened in 12, this is the beginning of 13. Clifford, his words were, as I listened to the tape last week, the officers do a good job, love what they do, well educated. That's why we're pushing for the higher wages. They work to our standards, friendly, don't antagonize the public. I believe that paperwork on one of your officers, definitely that's not true. So that officer got it, and not that these officers don't deserve a raise, believe me. And that's not the issue. The issue to me was reading that paperwork and then what is on the tape that happened on January 2013. That officer should not have got a raise. Should have been reprimanded. Now, I was hoping that the supervisor, Cece, you never seen that paperwork?
Yes, sir, I
No.
have it.
That's an issue also.
Helen, was this ever received in the office?
I'm not remembering seeing this.
I don't ever recall seeing it,
Um,
received by us. Not in
No.
our office.
Don't know.
I don't I'll have to check the files, Cece, truthfully. But normally anything that deals,
Helen, do you have a
With-
mail log?
Harlan?
Do you have a mail log? You log every piece of mail that comes in?
No, we don't.
Okay, but you log every phone call that you have,
I did.
correct? Yes or no?
Yes, I do.
You
I
do.
have a
You've logged
pad.
every phone call. You've never missed,
Oh,
like,
I've
trial dates
probably.
and paperwork.
I'm
Okay.
not saying I
So we
didn't.
stated earlier that it was factual of those dates and times when
Mm-hmm.
I've called in. There could have been others, correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. So therefore, this is another document. One, the letter from Mr. Chanel to the Board of Supervisors that was failed to receive. Am I correct, Brian and Cece? You never received that?
I never got a copy.
And here's another example of another copy that has not been received to the Board of Supervisors. Is that correct, Brian?
Are you asking if I ever
Yes.
saw this letter?
Yes.
Not till tonight.
Until tonight, Cece?
I
Never
I
saw
don't
it
know.
tonight.
Chief Pickles,
What's that?
did you ever see that paperwork?
Yeah, I discussed it with the judge.
You didn't discuss it with the boss?
Like I said, you know, it's a personnel matter and it was handled. Yeah.
With who? Just the officer?
No, not just the officer, no.
With Mr. Hallman or the other supervisors, no executive sessions?
No.
I mean, that's some nasty stuff.
At face value.
You telling me it's not true?
Like I said, it's a personnel matter and it was handled.
Some issues there, Henry.
Yes, there is, Stanley. I would like to offer comment. You know that one of the parents of that group came up here personally right into this room and wanted me to use influence to do what I could long before the hearing took place on that. And that was something I refused to get into. That was on the kids on the party out there, which says there on the bottom. I didn't know what it was, though. I see there, consumption, possession, transportation, liquor, malt, brewed beverage at an event held October 21st, which actually happened. Okay, that's what it was about. So, Mr. McGuire chose, as I understand it, to dismiss all of them.
That's not the issue.
Okay, I know it's not the issue.
I don't care what Mr. McGuire did.
Yeah.
I
But I
care
don't-
less if you put a lot
I
of
don't
kids
believe
in
that
jail
we
and
got a
that's all
letter
fair.
in here.
That's not my issue.
I don't believe we got a letter in here from Mr. McGuire either.
That's my issue.
Yeah, I don't believe we got a letter in here from that.
That's-
If there was, there was
I
never
don't
one
care
put
what
in my
Mr.
bin.
McGuire did.
No.
Never one put in my bin. Okay,
Not really.
next.
Mr. Fickle?
Since you brought up the right to know request, the letter from the DA came 3 weeks prior to the right to know office deciding the township. Okay? I didn't go to the DA after they agreed with you. It was prior to. So while we're on documents, the supervisors talked about 2.5 years. Cece, you ever see it? do you remember this letter? See, do you ever see that letter?
Yes, sir, I have.
Yes, I have too.
Brian, do you see it?
I may have seen it, I don't remember specifically.
Okay, pass it down.
It was a carbon copy to the Board of Supervisors. I came down to address Henry to discuss the letter. He didn't know what letter I was talking about. So we went in the office, he was looking in his mail bin, and he couldn't find it. Do you remember what transpired?
Yeah, it came in as a complaint, and I gave it to the police department. And also, I believe there's a copy in the Duncannon EMS file also. But it was treated as a complaint, and I gave it to the police department who handles those.
You told Henry, when he couldn't find it in the mail bin, you had it in all the packets for the supervisors. Do you remember what Henry told you?
No, I do not.
He said, that doesn't belong in there, take them out.
Mhm.
You remember that?
If I don't remember what he told me, I have to take your word for it.
You remember that, Henry?
No, Jim, I don't. I do remember you coming in here complaining about them riding around on top of the ambulance roofs and all that kind of stuff and et cetera.
I asked you,
Well, just wait a minute, I remember that. I'm gonna tell you what I remember about this. And then this letter comes in from them because they, whatever you're doing out there that I don't know nothing about, prompted this letter from the EMS, from Christy Young. Prompted this letter. A letter to you to tell you to stop photographing, harassing, and et cetera from the EMS. Now, when you were complaining to me verbally out here in the hall about what all they were doing and how dangerous it was and whatnot, I made the statement that that was nothing that I, as a supervisor, could do or stop them from doing. And that's, I stand by that today. Your complaint to me was that. They reacted because something evidently continued on to make them write the letter. Did you ever see the letter?
I never spoke to
Yes,
you about
okay.
what was going on right there.
Yes, you did. That's what started this.
Until you received the letter.
Now, you said that before. This letter would have never got generated. This letter never got generated if it wouldn't have continued on, and it was a matter between you and them that you tried to drag the supervisors into.
I did not write the letter.
No, I know you didn't, but you caused the action for the letter to be wrote, did you not? Mr. Fickles, did you cause the action for the letter to be
I
wrote?
complained to you back then.
I don't have the copy of it.
That letter was prompted by your actions, whatever they were, and I have no idea what they were.
Chief Pickles told him I did nothing really wrong. What happened isn't what it's about. It's about the letter. Helen being told to take the letter out of the packets, where the other supervisors didn't see it.
I don't believe that was done, Mr. Fickles.
I don't remember
sir.
that.
I know it was, because I was standing right beside you when you said it.
No.
I'll gladly check my packet from March of 2012 because I have them all.
You have them all, CC.
Yes, sir, I
You've
do.
seen the letter?
Yep, I'll have that.
And why would I have them take that out? Because whatever took place out there was between you and them that generated that letter. We didn't generate that letter. That letter come in as a complaint against you, Mr. Fickles.
Chief Pickles, had I come to you and complained about anything
I talked to you about it, yeah.
after the letter?
Yeah.
After you, prior to you receiving the letter, had I ever talked to you about it?
Not that I recall, no.
That's all I have.
Jack?
Mr. Warner?
I provided the 2013 tax information for the 990 of the Duncan Fire Company. It was a little longer than expected this year, but, you know, I got one copy for you to make copies for the rest of for the supervisors and put on file.
Want it, Al?
Yeah, if you could make quick copies
Oh.
of that, please, Helen.
Jody's next.
Not at this time.
Okay, Jesse Boyer,
No, thank you.
Lee,
No, thank you.
Matt Rice.
Yeah. I have a copy with me of an enforcement notice sent to Mr. Morrison on June 2nd. And this is what resulted then in the cease and desist order being placed on the barn.
Mm-hmm.
One of the violations named in here was the failure to obtain the highway occupancy permit for Quail Trail. And it was brought up at another meeting that Mr. Morrison's response to that was that he didn't need or want a highway occupancy permit for Quail Trail. But as this letter still stands, unless something else was sent out informing him that that would no longer be a violation, he's still in violation until he applies for that and gets it, correct?
I would assume, because he hasn't gotten a permit, and I don't know whether he's rescinded or changed his mind on that at all.
Yeah.
We have no documentation from that. I mean, he said he didn't need it, you know what I'm saying? I know he stated that. But at one time, they made the statement, yes, I can go in there or whatever, with his farm equipment, whatnot. My reply was, why don't you come in from the other end when you got the wide road right to it, instead of coming up around King Court
Sure.
with huge equipment blocking everything off to come in that way to get to the fields.
Yep.
I finally made that trip myself down 11 and 15. They do have a wide access right straight up, right straight into those fields. I would not think that Mr. Morrison would want to continue, try to take the big equipment and stuff up there that he does to farm that.
Sure.
And I guess, does anybody know whether he used that access in the last year in planting that, or did he use the other way?
He did use that way, and that's not the issue, and technically, a highway occupancy permit wouldn't be needed for that farm equipment
That's right.
to access that property.
That's right.
But if you guys are pushing him by basically saying until he gets a highway occupancy permit, you can't lift the cease and desist on that building. You guys are forcing him to get something that he has said he doesn't want, and we as citizens have said that we don't want.
That was part of it. There's other issues on why he doesn't have the permit.
Sure, I see the list of violations,
Yeah.
but as it stands, until another letter is sent out informing him that that is no longer required, he's gonna apply for that permit. And then he's gonna have it for the future, which we have stated numerous times that we don't want.
But he is permitted to use it with farm equipment, but he's not permitted any other trucks or any other,
No, but once he has that highway occupancy permit, he can drive whatever he wants up there, because he's got a permit.
He hasn't applied for any.
No, but you guys are, and I guess part of the question is, who decided on this list of stuff that he needs? Is that, well, of course I understand zoning, building permits, but where does the highway occupancy permit come into that cease and desist order? I mean, whose decision was that?
I think that was probably an overview of what all took place on the hearing from Solicitor Wagner, if I'm not mistaken, that a lot of that list was generated as what he could or he couldn't do in the cease and desist. Ask Helen. On the cease and desist order up there to the building, wasn't that list generated for the barn by after Rich reviewed it, what all was involved, one of them being the highway occupancy permit?
Yeah, that was for if they were going to bring their construction vehicles across.
That's right, they were gonna bring your construction vehicles across, et cetera. and whatnot. So your line of thinking is that they ought to be denied for that at the present time.
I certainly think they should be denied for it, but I also don't think that you guys should be asking him to get something as a requirement to lift the cease and desist order that he has stated he doesn't want right now, and we as citizens have stated that we don't want. So I would like to see a new letter, so there's something on record stating that that's not a condition of lifting the cease and desist, because I don't want him to apply for that. And ultimately, he's gonna want that cease and desist order lifted on that building. And if it stands like this, I mean, you guys are asking him to get the highway occupancy permit. Doesn't it sound like you're gonna grant it? I mean, you're asking him to apply for it. Why would you, then you're looking for a lawsuit because you guys are asking him to apply for something that you're gonna turn down, and then that would never lift his cease and desist order. It sounds to me like you guys are setting yourselves up.
On that, Mr. Morrison gave us a letter stating he had no intention to use that.
Correct, and that's what I brought up. There was a letter from Mr. Morrison.
Did he define no intention to use it for any purpose or for?
For commercial purpose.
For commercial purpose.
But
I believe his statement was he didn't need a highway occupancy permit because he had no desire to.
because he doesn't need one for agriculture.
Correct.
If he has other plans, he would need one.
Yeah.
And at this time here, he hasn't indicated that he's not interested. But you're saying as a condition, as to lift the conditional use, then he would have to apply for it.
Unless you guys send out another letter stating that you reviewed it and that highway occupancy permit is no longer a violation that has to be fulfilled prior to lifting of the cease and desist order.
Have Helen, we'll follow right up on that with Rich. Take a look at that. We do have that letter there from him that says that he didn't need that.
Yeah.
And that was put in there originally, so if he says he don't need it,
I mean, does that make sense? I mean,
no,
you
it
guys
makes
are asking
sense.
to get it.
Makes sense.
Where do we stand on for the future on that? I mean, when he does.
Okay.
I guess we'll have to think about it later down the road, but I really don't. While he's not asking for it.
Yeah. Okay?
Has there been any other changes with that property?
Nope. There's still some items out there in limbo on it yet to be settled.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's not, that highway occupancy permit and the use of Quail Trail has nothing to do with any of it.
No. There's other issues there.
So I guess just to finalize, that
Yeah.
you guys are going to
They
send
made a
out-
request for a permit, which we all know, but it's been denied and held up, and it's sitting there for obvious reasons, so.
Yes,
It's
but-
quite a while before I think that issue will get resolved.
but you guys are going to move forward with sending him a letter telling him that as part of the cease and desist order, the highway
I'll contact,
occupancy
when Helen digs a letter out that he says that he rescinded it, we'll forward that to the solicitor and ask him how we take that out of there and do it right.
Okay.
Okay? And notify him that that's not part of that condition. I see what you're making, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
pushing him into getting it, you know? So,
You want to know the list too from that's supposed to be allowed.
oh, yeah, in terms of a copy of the conditional use permit that was issued to Mr. Morrison as a result of, I guess, lack of action on the township's part, he was awarded that appeal, basically because the township didn't file paperwork within 60 days. You guys should have a copy of that conditional use permit, correct? Because it was granted at the county level.
There has not been a zoning permit or building permit issued for the use
Yeah,
of the
she's
barn.
I'm talking about the conditional use permit.
The conditional use,
The application as what he applied for.
yeah, the application for the conditional use we have, yes.
Yes,
Yeah, but it was,
But we have not issued a permit for the use.
that's right.
so he can't get the conditional use permit until he meets all of the other requirements?
Well, he.
It's a zoning
he-
permit.
He's asked for more than what he was
Sure.
granted
Yep.
in the conditional use. I mean, he won that by default, certain things. But in it, in the permit, he wants to do others, and that's the holdup. You can, the question is, he can now put in there stuff that's not agricultural-related materials. I'm sure you understand that.
Correct.
Okay. What's that?
Well, if he won the appeal, then the county ultimately told you guys to issue the permit, conditional use permit, correct?
No, they didn't tell us
No.
to issue us a permit.
So he, as
They
of
just said that he won the appeal,
Yeah.
and they applied for a permit. We went back as, what did you win in the appeal?
Yeah.
You didn't win to put buildings in there, finished rooms, and a lot of other things. You only won the part of it that you put in the application to store materials there other than agricultural-related materials according to the zoning.
Okay. So
And
the-
that's what he's got. He can put that in there. Other than that, he can't do anything different with it.
Is there a permit stating that he can do that? Does he have that
No,
permit?
he does not.
So if he's doing any of that right now, then he's doing it without a permit, right? Any kind of storage, other than agriculture?
No, you're wrong.
Well, I'm trying to figure it out, so
He was granted that he can put other stuff in there. Okay.
Granted through the conditional use.
Yeah,
permit.
through the conditional use on the loss of the appeals, that we put up there. He can now put stuff in there that's not, in there, but only what he won in the conditional use. He can't, that don't include the offices, that don't include a lot of other things, that don't include a lot of other things that he now wants and he thinks he won with this conditional use.
So there is a.
Only what the statements are in the conditional use.
So there is statements somewhere saying what he was granted in the appeal.
What he originally requested.
Yes.
No,
He was granted what he was originally requested.
Requested, that's correct.
And do we have that, Helen?
and that's, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I would like to, I guess, see what, and I can stop at another day. for a
Yeah.
copy. I just wanted to make sure that.
That's all here. We've denied any further progress because he's asked for more than what's in that conditional use. He asked for a permit.
Yeah.
We had to get back to what he won in the conditional use.
So,
Doesn't give him an open door to do whatever he wants.
and that was gonna be my next question, that
Yes.
if, if he wants to do above and beyond what was granted with the conditional use, it ultimately comes down to you guys deciding that, right?
Yes. That part of it there. I sat and read the entire transcript as to what was said, what was documented, spent a whole day on it and et cetera. And so what he would like to do is something different than what he can do.
Yeah. And I realize that we've been up here tying up a lot of your guys' time and energy with that, but, in our defense, when it's in your backyard.
Henry, what
Yes.
he's calling the conditional use permit is actually a zoning permit.
Yeah.
That's granting the use of it.
Pardon?
He would actually get a zoning permit
Yeah.
to grant the use for the conditional use in
His
this.
conditional use application.
That's the application when he came in for the conditional use.
That's right.
But he would still be issued a zoning permit for the use.
For the use.
Yes, and that has not been issued yet.
No, that hasn't been issued.
Which is why the
Yeah.
cease and desist is there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay?
Mr. Chrisman?
No, I'm good.
Any- Karen? Okay. Karen Taster?
I'm just saying that I'm trying to move forward on what I've agreed to do. I was told I need 2 permits, blueprints, and I'm working on it.
And you were also informed you needed to get the building code inspector out there to certify
too.
that. To
Right,
certify that the
right,
bricks
right,
are good.
Right. Because they're gonna submit a blueprint too.
And the blueprints are for your new home?
For the cellar, and she said I need it for the home too. I'm sorry.
She needs to have our inspector look at the foundation, the bricks around the basement, to make sure they're still compliant to be built upon. She needs to then put in a zoning permit for the new home and
But the
a,
walls were condemned before.
yes,
The walls were condemned. You need to know that. You
Yeah.
won't be able to use them walls.
Yeah.
Who condemned the walls?
our guy.
Our guys, the ones that
I'm,
looked
I'm
at.
calling back out.
When you say our guys?
I'm sorry, Panoni,
Panoni?
Panoni.
Do we
Our
have
ins-
documentation
yes,
of that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, we do.
I got, that's not it. That's Manon. I don't have that file here, no. This is just all this stuff for the bid that I brought in. Because we sent her a letter. That's all the contract that we have to work on. Yeah, we sent her a letter after she came into the office on the 4th, 3rd, 4th, what day was that? The Wednesday, the 3rd. She talked on the phone with Henry, on speaker. We sent you a letter that stated she had to get the foundation inspected by our guy to see if it was buildable or usable. Then she'd have to put in a permit for the zoning and the building permit to build the house.
And the zoning permit is for,
If she wants
I
to,
was gonna tape it off, fence it off.
Yeah, the fence.
Oh, for the fence,
Yeah, for the
okay.
fence.
For the winter,
you were just gonna put construction
just for the
fence,
winter.
and we need a zoning permit for that.
unless she's changing the footprint of the house, if she's making it longer,
Longer.
wider, then she'd need a zoning
And then
permit
she
for
would need a
that.
zoning permit for that.
Yes,
The
And the other,
question
and the
is-
other permit was for the fencing.
but yes, she would need a zoning permit for the fence. And then the building permit to build a house, or put a modular or whatever.
Whatever, okay.
I think it should be a concern of the board all the way around in this. We've got monies tied up in this. We've had a dumpster that we hauled a lot of stuff out. We have costs associated with this. I don't know whether you're gonna be satisfied with a further lien on the property or whether you wish to make retribution to the township for those costs. Somewhere along the line, you got a hard time, I'm gonna be honest with you, getting a building permit for this. You don't get a building permit until you can assure us that you got shorted. It's the same as anybody else.
What is that?
Your building permit should not come forward until we're guaranteed, if you go out here to build a home out here, a new home out here, you don't get a building permit until the SEO or until the sewer design's done, until the sand mound has been approved that it's gonna be there. And so you need to take a look at that. If,
I did bring it.
oh, yeah.
And here's our field inspection
Mhm.
that we got when we were going out for bid. The second page on that is what Mrs. Tatchek brought in.
She's gonna hook to the existing township sewer. So my question is, and Cece, can you help me with this, please? With right now, there is a lien against the property from the municipal authority for a sizable amount of money. Can the municipal authority deny her hooking up into that Bill's Cave?
That's not a decision that I could make, that would
Okay.
have to go before the board.
Okay, so so there's no answer to that at this time, okay. I mean, legally, could we say until you pay that, or you're not sure?
We've not had this problem before,
Okay,
so I don't know how the board would address that.
okay.
And that issue needs to be resolved before we can even think about issuing a permit for anything.
Correct.
And then our fees that we've got tied up in it.
Which is the amount of our fees, around 1,000,
Oh, no, a little more than that now.
or more than that now?
Top of my head here, 285,
We finally get the dumpster bill.
368. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Before we had the second bidding, because I don't have that figured in, it's 2,200, 2211.20. That's what the dumpster, I'm sorry, That's not gonna be the correct one, that's what's counting in them, okay, 250, 285. About 900 right now, plus the new advertisements of $87. Yeah. I can have that in your box tomorrow, the exact
Okay.
price.
So Ms. Tessa, or, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but ma'am, do you have plans? I know you want to build your home back and your, but do you have a plan to be able to get these liens paid for before you start building? Because it looks like you're kind of putting the cart before the horse. And really, before you incur any more debt in building a new home, you should try to get that old debt cleared first to pave the way and make it easier. So I'm asking, in your thought, do you have a plan to pay roughly $1,100 or $1,000 back to the township? And then also the money's owed to the municipal authority. I would think that that would probably be a focus for you, to focus on that first. And while you're trying to put your plans together, because some things might prevent you to going further with this until those debts are paid. Do you understand, ma'am? Okay. I would think that you would have a plan to try to take care of that stuff first, because building a home or putting a modular on is an expense. So, okay.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I'm marveled, looking from the road and looking how you clean things up. I have to say kudos. Is everything 100% perfect? No, but it is a whole heck of a lot better than what it was. So,
Almost 4 stories, so
so
a little lot.
I give you kudos that you did an excellent job at this point here. Do we have a little bit more to do yet? Yes. But I'm amazed at what you have done, and thank you.
No, I'm gonna see this to the end, no matter what. Okay, no matter what.
Right.
I'm gonna see it to the end. So,
It doesn't
I
satisfy,
have
I
to
haven't
get
heard
back-
anything, I haven't heard anything here as regards to getting their money back in the township or whether we file a lien. You need to respond to that.
well, I don't know, exactly, it's just was thrown at me, so like, I'm not sure if you want payment, I'm not sure how you wanna do it. Before you said, I'm just throwing a lien on you, so I'm a little confused myself.
Okay.
I mean,
And
to
from
ask
last-
me to all of a sudden come up with answers right this minute, when I'm a little overwhelmed, it seems like I keep having stuff thrown at me, and I'm not prepared for the stuff thrown at me.
Then in regards to that.
I'm trying to be prepared, believe me.
In regards to that, so we know where we're going, I would like to give you 30 days to get back to us how you're gonna satisfy the claim in the township to us before we file a lien. And that is very important. There's still some bags of trash down there that you said a month ago you'd take away. They're laying on the same spot. The bricks and
I'm
stuff
still
down along the
bagging up
fence.
too, sir.
The bricks and stuff down along the neighbor's fence and stuff is the same as it was a month ago.
No, they're picked up, sir, they're stacked on the porch.
Well, no, they were there a month ago, but there's still more there. Okay.
Not the brick.
So, down along that fence line there. So those items are still there.
And that's
The
it.
white trash bags are still there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They are.
And you said you were gonna clean them up.
I'm still even bagging up. I'm still bagging up. I was bagging up earlier.
I didn't see anything more down there to bag up. No clothes, no nothing, no et cetera down there. I
But
didn't see
there is,
anything.
I went through every piece of, I'm going through all the rubbish. And I'm bagging up what is trash.
Okay.
What's trash is trash. I do, I have what? 20 more bags down there sitting.
You say you want to get through the winter, would like to do this next year?
Excuse me?
You say you'd like to get through the winter and get a permit and do something next year?
Yes, sir.
I would offer as a motion that we give you 30 days, get back to this township to show how you're gonna make retribution back to the township for the cost incurred by the township.
Okay. Does that mean,
If there is no show of good faith back there, then we go through the procedure to put a lien on your place for that amount of money. Okay? I would also put that into motion, that within 1 year's time, you do something to move forward down there, to obtain a building permit and move on from that point. I've given you another year to get that cleaned up, 30 days to come back to us, the township, to show how you're gonna pay what you owe us for the dumpster and for the time and the labor that we went down there and started cleaning up to get it ready to put a bid out on it, to take it away. So, that money's still out there, that come out of the residents of the township in order to
I know,
do
but
that.
sir, no disrespect, but I feel like you're treating me like I'm not a taxpayer.
I'm not saying that,
I have been a taxpayer for 34 years. I paid $3,000 a year.
not to us you don't.
No, but I don't like being not treated like a taxpayer.
Well, I'm not saying that, but you don't pay $3,000 to us.
No, but I just want to, be treated fairly,
Okay.
like I am
Okay.
paying taxes, like I am contributing.
Are you willing to come back in 30 days and show us how you're gonna make retribution
Yes,
to the
sir.
township?
I'm trying to cooperate all the way. All the way.
And I think that's important.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I mean, you're telling her to come back in 30 days, but can you guys name what would be suitable for you? I mean, is some type of payment plan in the township suitable?
Well, let her come back, so that we can be prepared to deal with that or see what she has to offer. She has to make a show that she really wants to do this, is what I'm getting at. So she having 30 days to come back. She may want to come back and pay what she owes the township all one, and that would be fine.
I'm certain, yeah, I mean, that would be ideal.
And that would be
It doesn't seem
ideal,
like
and
gonna be the case.
that's one issue. I can't tell you what we do in a case like that without talking to the solicitor or the lawyer in regards to it. I'm trying to be fair, I'm also trying to put something there so that there is progress, we keep moving ahead, that it just don't drop and lay there again and surface again next year like it has in the past. It's been how many years now? And so that's all I'm trying to do, try to keep it moving. That's an open-ended thing for 30 days for her a chance to come back and tell us how she's gonna resolve those financial issues owed to the township. And I think that's a real good show of good faith in order to keep moving along with it.
And with the township, I guess without talking to the solicitor, you can't say the township would accept some type of payment plan from her?
I would go by his recommendation on that as to where we're at, because if you're gonna accept a payment plan, you're gonna have to sit down and take an overall look how much it is, or what she can afford, or what. I'm not saying that can't be done, or wouldn't be done. I'm giving her 30 days to come back. I would like to have her 30 days to come back and tell us how you would like to pay for this, and what you could afford to pay. Let's get those financial obligations out of the way, so that she can move on later on free and clear. That'd be the best thing that happened to her. The grinder pump's no longer in down there, it's been pulled, that has to go back in. I don't know what costs are associated with that, I have no idea. But just to come in to get a building permit and say we're gonna build with new plans, there's just a little bit more to that. I'm trying to let her be aware that that's where you're at with it. I don't wanna put a lien on it, I'd be glad to hear her come back and say, here's how I'm gonna pay for this and how long I'll take to pay for it.
I have a question.
Yes, Jesse?
Who authorized and why was it authorized that the township go in there and work?
Well, there was a process that went through the condemnation procedures. It was advertised. The Pickles, how long did it take till we get it to the point that we could go in there to work because it was an abandoned property? And is what happened. And it fell back on the township that we were responsible to clean it up, Jesse. That is how it got to the point that we were responsible. And then, go ahead.
I'm sorry, that was March the 26th of this year that the appeals expired. That it was.
And we heard nothing all that time. No correspondence at all. Nothing came back to us in all the time that we were working on that. And meanwhile, we had complaints from the neighbors, we're not doing anything, to the point that we went through the appeal, spent all that money in order to get it to that point so we could clean it up. And as soon as we started cleaning it up, then they come forward and they start cleaning up. That's how it all happened. Now we're back working with them again. I don't choose to go through this appeals process one more time for like that. In order to do it, you start all over.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
know where the authorization and
That's
why
where
the
it came from.
authorization.
It was a
Thank you.
totally abandoned property.
I would like to make another statement. I was assaulted to where I couldn't walk for 3 months, and I almost died in a car accident in January. I'm still under doctor's care. And that is why they did not really respond to why I hadn't done it. I tried to start 2 jobs, and that's what I was doing with my life. And I just want everybody to know that I just didn't abandon it on purpose.
No, you didn't abandon it at all.
I put that in a form of motion so we can move on. That we allow 30 days for her to come back to this board of supervisors to show how she can remit payment into this township or how she can satisfy the amount of monies owed to this township before we are forced to put a lien on the property in regards to that. And I would urge you, please, come back and have something to show us. If there's a possibility that you come back and pay it all, it is fine, be the greatest thing that could happen to us. And then I would make a motion with that motion, that you be given 1 year to show further progress into the point with a building permit, that you're really going to move ahead. And I would also ask you, I don't have anything to do with it, but I would ask you, take into consideration of the sewer bill that's owed, and to go to the municipal authority and see if you can't settle that issue also, because these issues may crop up later on the issuancing of a building permit. And that's what I'm trying to do, trying to find some common ground so that you can go ahead and square some of those things away.
I'm glad you're talking to me about it.
Okay.
I don't like when it's just thrown in my face and I don't even know what I'm looking at.
But you can't send a letter in here like you said that I'm gonna pour concrete, I'm putting rebar in, I'm gonna start rebuilding. You know, we have that letter from you that by the end of this month you were going to be doing that. And that's the reason why we sent a letter out to you telling you you can't do that.
Right,
Okay,
got you on that.
okay.
I
So,
second the motion.
okay, motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, please.
Question.
Yes,
When I give you guys the final list of numbers,
yes,
her too?
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Helen.
I'll need those back, Brian.
Okay.
Jerry, can I ask you one question? With the municipal authority, with the amount that you owe, and I don't know if you did or not, so I'm just asking for clarification. Have you signed a payment agreement letter with them
For what?
for the back amount that's due? Have you been into the office and signed a payment agreement letter which says, and I think you can pretty much name your amount, what you can afford to pay each month?
Yeah, I believe so. That was
Okay.
before the fire.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yes, sir. All right, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Did we miss anyone? Bob wants to know.
After listening what Mrs. Patrick has gone through with her file, I had occasion, and Mr. Warner can help me with this, I was to the Wheatfield Township Supervisors meeting. There was a lady come to that meeting with an $8,300 bill for firefighting that her insurance company wouldn't pay, and she's not sure how to do it. And I'm just wondering if Mr. Warner could help me. Are we going to expect to be billed for fires, or where we're at with?
No, there's a major misunderstanding on her part that it's I don't know if it's every insurance company's thing. When we have a third-party billing company, and there was equipment damage and stuff at that fire, I don't know how they determine, we supply the billing company with information, they put the bills out. With a homeowner's claim, Erie, I don't know if every insurance company's like this, but I talked to the guy at Erie. Erie only takes a claim from their insured, so they will not take the bill from fire recovery. So they reject, Erie rejects the claim, and when fire recovery gets a claim rejected from the insurance company, they send it to the homeowner. Now, all that homeowner had to do, and she's been instructed multiple times, if she wants to pay it, she can pay it, but she can relieve herself of that obligation by submitting that bill to her insurance company. So whatever the insurance company decides, that's the end of it. Evidently, she has a problem submitting that bill to her insurance company, and she's been instructed multiple times.
But then the insurance companies will pay for the fire.
There is provisions in everybody's homeowner's policy for certain things, damage to fire equipment, whatever. So I have no idea what would get paid, what would be satisfied, what wouldn't be. But like I said, she can relieve herself of that obligation by simply turning that invoice over to her insurance company. And that's the end of it on her. That's the end of her participation in the matter. But
And if her insurance company denies that, you're good with that?
that's the end of it.
Okay.
That's her only obligation is to forward that to her insurance company, unless she wants to pay the bill.
Now, what she had come to the board, that she was concerned about it, that
Because she
the
can't
insurance
follow,
company wouldn't pay it, and she
she
didn't know
can't
where
follow instructions. The denial was not that the insurance company is not going to pay it. They are not going to entertain a claim from Fire Recovery USA. They would only entertain a claim from her, from their insured. So if Bob, if you had Erie Insurance, you had a fire at your house, you got a bill from Fire Recovery with a note that says your insurance company rejected it. That is why, because you did not submit that claim to your insurance company. They only take claims from the insured.
But the other part of that wasn't clear to me listening to her is that Wheatfield Township didn't have anything on record that would allow you to bill those residents, that it was coming from a Duncannon Borough ordinance that she had.
There was something in those ordinances. I don't think we have anything here from Duncannon through Penn Township because it was done through the borough, and Craig could probably may be able to elaborate on that. When we did that, it only had to be, they changed, you used to have to go to every municipality, then it was changed that you only needed one ordinance, because that is our headquarters. And we have contracts with those municipalities.
Well, then I can, if there's something in my property, I can expect a bill from you. That's what I wanted to get to.
Probably not. It depends on the circumstances. Like I said, there was equipment damage. That's the only reason we submitted a bill. That's the only reason we submitted it to be billed. We don't come up with a bill. We have the log. We submit the information from the call to Fire Recovery USA, and they handle the rest of it.
So your equipment's not covered under your insurance for damage during the call?
Yes, it is, but your homeowner's insurance policy also does. My homeowner's insurance policy also does. Everybody's does.
Okay, thank you.
So it's not like talking with the insurance guy, he was thinking that, he thought we were claiming the building fell down on a fire truck causing several hundreds of thousands. No, it's not that at all. And he was, he asked those questions about if our insurance, and he assumed that we assume all liability for everything. We go out on calls if things get broken or burned or whatever by somebody else's negligence, that we eat that because we're the fire department. That's not the case. So, yes, we do. And the way that will be handled, this brought up a procedural change in our end of it, that the way this will be handled from now on is we will submit everything to our insurance company and give them all that information and let them handle it. so it doesn't go round and around like this again. And really, like I said, the lady has been instructed by myself several times, by our billing officer at the firehouse, and by her insurance company to submit that bill, and I just called last week about it again, so this has been an ongoing issue for 3, 4, 5 months, maybe longer. And she's still, I haven't got word back that she submitted the claim to her insurance company. And also Fire Recovery had called, because our billing officer just asked me about it again last week. And I said, you tell them to submit it, you know, send it again, because evidently either she lost it, whatever, she hasn't stopped the firehouse, come in here, any further contact with me or anybody at the fire station about, I lost this or whatever, so we don't know if she's just ignoring it. She's debating claims in there about the amount of equipment that was there, and we have pictures to show, you know, she's debating whether it was four of Duncan's fire trucks on her scene, and there's pictures of them all right up the driveway. You know, so, you know, it's just she's not, but to answer Bob's question, is she's not following what she's been instructed to do. And that's not, like I said, that is not a common occurrence for anybody that has an issue at their property.
Thank you,
Penn
Brian.
Township did have an ordinance in place, I don't know what you guys did with it, but you did have a clause in your ordinance that indicated that absent the approval of the Board of Supervisors, there was no billing for fires for residents. Vehicle accidents, transient, going through your billing.
I don't think
people
we're talking about fire itself, we're talking about equipment.
No, you're talking about damage from a fire through Fire Recovery Inc., a third-party billing
It's in
for
Wheatfield
which.
Township, so it's really not a
Right,
matter
it's-
here.
Yeah.
But the question came up for Penn, and Penn does have an ordinance, or did have an ordinance in place with their fire department.
But this is total separate
wasn't.
billing, this is billing for damages, this isn't billing for service. So your insurance, everybody's insurance policy should or has a provision in there for fire
And if
protection.
the insurance company turns it down, then the service is free.
The
And
ordinance-
you're taking the damage on your chin.
Yeah,
Okay.
or our insurance company
Yeah,
is one of them.
one or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, again, the ordinance that you have in place, Henry, is for third-party billing, which is through Fire Recovery Inc. Whether it be for services rendered or damaged property, there was still an ordinance in place with Penn Township. That's what I'm suggesting you take a look at. Because you're looking at protecting your township residents, whether it's Wheatfield or not, or whether it's equipment or not. You still need to take a look at what your ordinance language is. Do you want your residents to be billed for their equipment when they're already donating via tax dollars?
I
Number
don't
one.
think
Number two, you have to authorize whether or not they can go back against the resident.
I don't
Their-
hear
their
they're going
insurance
against a
company.
resident. I hear that they're asking to submit it to the resident's insurance company that shows coverage.
Is Fire Recovery Inc. billing the woman directly? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Yes. So they are going against the resident, Henry. Pay attention to what he's saying.
But the only reason it is for her to forward it to her insurance company.
Right.
It's not,
But the bill is coming to her address, that's why she's angry.
but she's been instructed multiple times, and she fails to listen to instructions.
Well, regardless, it should be the municipality intervening,
I
but
will-
saying go to the
I will be
insurance
entertaining
company.
that at the next Wheatfield Township meeting that I can attend. I haven't been able to attend the last several.
Okay. Thank you. Next.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, no, I think I got everyone else.
Everything? Treasurer's report before you.
Just
Alright.
real quick here, Helen, can you get that ordinance?
I'll look for it
Get a
tomorrow.
copy for us then? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Be here when we want to hear.
Treasurer's report?
Pardon? Yes, treasurer's report, Libby?
Okay,
I know that.
no, how about invoices?
Henry,
Invoices first.
how about invoices?
Invoices.
Treasurer's report?
We'll do the
Oh,
invoices.
invoices.
pay
Yep,
bills.
invoices, treasurer, excuse me, before you. Okay, I looked at them
Okay.
earlier here today.
It's pretty much the normal monthly bills, plus we made a payment for the workers' comp,
Yep.
and then we also paid for the paving
Mhm.
out of the liquid fuels account.
Okay,
Oh, the E3 oil, I guess.
Can I ask a question quick?
Mhm.
Did you vote on Henry's motion?
No.
Brian seconded it.
And
Yeah,
Brian
they,
made a motion.
yeah, they voted,
Did we?
they
Yeah,
voted,
did we?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, on the,
Yeah.
on the cash check? Yeah, yeah, they did.
Okay. I was thinking, sorry.
Do I hear a motion to pay the bills?
I make that motion.
Okay. Motion made, I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Have before, ayes have it. Treasurer's report is before you. Anything you care to comment on the treasurer's report?
Yes. First off, there's a blank check in the thing for the newsletter postage. Like normal, we get the receipt and do that. I would also like to transfer $7,000 from the Orrstown checking account to the Capital Reserve checking account to pay for the split systems that are going in.
Okay. That's so you don't need to cash a CD or take
Correct.
anything out of the CD.
Yes, because if you look on there, and in the checking account, we have $7,300. I don't want to delete that down to a couple $100. So if we transfer the money from Orrstown to the Capital Reserve, we don't touch the CDs.
Yes. And there's money there that.
Oh, there's plenty of money
that
there.
That I've looked at, that you would be able to transfer some money into Capital Reserve this year. We're financially, we're in pretty good shape.
Need a separate motion for that?
Yep,
transfer?
separate motion.
I make
yeah.
that motion.
Okay, motion been made, allow Helen to transfer that amount of money in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll second, go ahead.
Good.
I'll second, all those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. The units are on the wall in there, stop in and take a look at them. They're nice, neat, makes you wonder how they're gonna heat and cool, but they claim that they will.
Yeah. Mr.
Very
Peters,
efficient.
for your information on the newsletter, I don't know if you remember from February, you normally do a blank check because they won't take the credit
I
card.
remember.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything
Okay.
else on the report?
Just that there were several deposits, two from capital tax for earned income and for local services tax. And we also received another deposit today, which
We think is for Foreign Fire, we don't have the documentation yet.
Okay,
money's deposited into our account.
Yes, and we also received the third quarter payment for the police contract.
okay. What is the wish of the board?
I move the treasurer's report be approved, subject to audit.
Okay, motion made, do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion made with a second, all those in favor give their consent by saying aye. Ayes have it,
Okay.
so ordered.
Okay.
Yes, Libby?
We also have now CDs that are maturing October 11th. There are actually 4. You have in your packet their spreadsheets. There are 3 for the general fund, and there is 1 for the capital reserve. As of today, there are 3 different options that we can choose from. Currently, it was invested as a regular CD for a 12-month term for all of them, actually. If you want to remain at a 12-month CD, the best rates are at the First National Bank of Mifflintown, and for 12 months, it would be 0.4%. But right now, Mifflintown has a CD special. If you invest for 33 months versus just 12, you get 1 full %, and that's just a regular CD. And then there's also the option for that municipal access CD, where you can withdraw funds after 7 days and not be penalized. So
And
those are
that's
your
also
choices.
for 1%.
That is 0.65%.
0.65, okay, excuse me.
So those are your 3 choices for all of them.
It's 11 months, what you have.
That's with the easy access.
Easy access, that's correct, okay. I see it here now. What is the wish of the board? Do I hear a motion?
I move the 3 CDs be reinvested at the First National Bank of Mifflintown under the Municipal Easy Access CD for 11 months at 0.65%.
You mean the, Question, you mean the 4 CDs?
Did I say 3?
Yeah.
I meant 4.
I second.
Okay, motion made with second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Minutes, August 27th, August cable franchise, August 27th, 2014 for regular minutes. It's September.
The special,
Pardon?
the special meeting.
Special meeting for 2014. What is the wish of the board for approval of the minutes?
I make the motion to receive the minutes of August 27th, 2014 cable franchise. Also, the August 27th, 2014, and the special meeting, which was September 8th, 2014, to accept them as is. Unless there's anything from the board.
Okay, motion been made, I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Okay, highway report. I guess the first thing is to do the highway report, and we'll deal with the greater bid right behind it. I'd like to offer to the public here this evening that there is great interest out here from, on a road closing that's coming out here at the township, or in the township for next year. I have a letter here from the Perry County Planning Commission that we received, and notices of that letter have been forwarded to Mark Keller, Corman, Senator Rob Tiplitz, Jeff Hayes Hatch, Chairman, Pennsylvania State Police, Newport, Perry County Board of Commissioners, Perry County Emergency Agency, Duncannon Borough Council, Duncannon Fire Company, Duncannon EMS, Marysville Borough Council, Penn Township Board of Supervisors, and Craig T. Welfer, PE, GTS Technologies. And it's a letter here asking for something else to be done in regard to this closing. And the letter is available here. There's a copy for anybody that would like to have it from the Perry County Planning Commission. I had in my report anyhow. There's an awful lot of interest in this, and I did attend the one meeting in Harrisburg, and there has been no contract left on this yet. I would urge everybody that has a concern about the closing of this mounting down here next year, write your representative, get them letters out there, be active, get something in there and do what you can, by golly, to get some support to not shut that road down there. Yes, Lee?
I had a call from Keller's office last week. They will leave the road open, leave 2 11-foot lanes.
No, we have nothing that says that that's gonna happen yet. Okay? When I see it in here, then I believe that it happens. Okay?
That was the call I got from his office.
Yeah, and I know that they're working on it, but I haven't received anything about it, and I have a big concern about it, because the impact on the local businesses up and down Perdix next year, if they're running from the point of the mountain down through there, is going to be tremendous, because they stop that flow of traffic, plus the access to it. Now, that was a suggestion I made at the meeting over in Harrisburg that time, when I was on the floor for quite a while about it, because of one wreck over here, what happens to the traffic and whatnot. Nobody's ever got back, nobody's ever said anything to me, or nobody's notified us that they are entertaining any other idea. When we left that day, it was still in the process that they'd look at it. I haven't heard anything else. But for information, I would urge everybody, do what you can, part of it, and until we get something back in here in writing that we can notify her. Everybody's asking me, I don't know. We haven't got anything back in here officially. And I know that maybe Mark's on top of something, maybe he knows what they're doing. Let's hope.
I know he got beat up pretty hard at the Perry County Fair. You know,
Yeah.
he actually, when I went to see him, he said, I wish you guys would get one representative to come see me at once, but
So,
Good job, though.
huh?
That's his
That's
job.
his
He's a
job.
representative.
Yep, he's a representative, and that's what I have here, right, your district office of PennDOT or PennDOT, if you can.
Henry?
Yes.
On that note too, I've been in numerous conversations with Chief Pickles about the matter. You know, we are proceeding our plans, making plans right now as if it's gonna be closed.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, or you, or Chief Pickles, or anybody in the township hears to the contrary, I'm sure the borough's gonna, I mean, we're copied in that letter, we should hear, but as soon as you would hear any news on that, any change to what is currently in position, would you please make sure the fire
We will,
company is
because my concern is,
notified,
once the
and EMS
contract's
and-
let, if we don't know what's in it, that's what's gonna be.
Right.
And that's my concern, that we get some information back for everybody involved with this thing back here, letting us know what's going to take place. So it is a big concern. We've been staying on top of it the best we can.
And there is a, I mean, we talked before that there was
Yeah.
a meeting supposed to be coming up that was pushed back. We do hear of another meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't notified of that meeting. The fire company was never notified of that
Mm-hmm.
coming meeting that was pushed back. But we would definitely like to be part of it because we would have input as to what our plan would be. And if anything could be accepted or denied in the plan by the contractor or whoever's, whoever's doing the project. Let them make the decisions whether they would accept our plan or deny parts of it or all of it or whatever. And let them go on record as saying they denied us or accepted, or, whatever
Okay.
we had proposed to provide that coverage if that road was closed.
The last we heard was the bids were gonna go out in April.
April, that's what they are.
Yep.
Spring of the year.
It'd be nice to see what that
So
bid
it's
is
a turn to see
before
what,
they send it out.
that's our concern, see what's in those bids.
Yeah, because that's, our plan would be to add to that.
Yep, okay.
Henry,
Please, yes,
with that, tomorrow's the Cumberland Perry County Task Force meeting, and they're gonna be talking about this?
He gives us an update every meeting.
Okay. So
Okay.
that's at 8 tomorrow,
okay.
up here.
Clean debris off the road out of Hawes Drive, that washed down one of their driveways out there. Not much access on it. We got that cleaned up the other day, got a phone call, didn't know it was there, went out and took care of it right away. Line painting for Butcher Shop, Faculty, and Municipal Road. We've got two prices in here, Helen.
Yep.
One for 5 cents a foot.
And
we
then the
found-
other 17 cents.
And the other 17. Not too much money, well within budget for what we got planned.
Yeah.
And I understand that Rye Township used the low bidder. And
No, not the low bidder, no. They used D.E. Grimmel.
Rimmel,
That's the 17 cents per
that's
liter.
the 17 cents. How
Yeah.
about the other fellow?
Alpha Space, they had problems with them last year.
Okay.
So they went with Mr.
With
the
the
D.E.
17
Grimmel.
cents,
Yeah.
yes.
And
So-
Interstate has not sent a quote in yet.
Okay, we have that third quote yet to get here, so that's the prices at the present time per foot for line painting.
Yeah.
As soon as we get that third price in for comparison, we notify the supervisors, so we can make a decision and get that done yet this year.
Yep.
We completed the shoulders and the drainage ditches around Ashmar up there. I'd like to thank all the residents up there that cooperated with us in moving of their cars and some of the one individual up there where we run water and he allowed us to cross over his property to get a drain down through there, which has been ponded up for years. I would urge everybody to take a look at the shoulders that the road crews put in here, coming in the road, and those up at Ashmar. I did not have one complaint from anybody, nothing but compliments of how we finished that road up. CenturyLink, I had sent a letter to them in regards to no response and coming back to fixing up the roads. And after Mel Mullen got seriously hurt and broken ribs and in the hospital from his lawnmower falling in the hole down there, they finally responded. They did come back out, they helped repair a sawmill. I took the road crew down there and we worked with them. They filled in, worked, cleaned up, rolled the banks back, and we done our job back there. Blacktopping it back in that portion of it. along the edge. Now, don't forget, there was no blacktop that was required. I was gonna do it on the road down there, but I waited until they got completed down there. That's done, looks good. The residents are happy with what finally took place down there, but it was a tough fight with CenturyLink to get them back. Plenty of road repairs to do out here while the weather permits. I do need to start working on Highland shoulder repairs down here. Right down here, we have a real bad one down here that's gonna take some work and some extreme work in order to stabilize this bank down here on 274. And we need to get on that as quickly as possible. We have some roadside mowing at places still to do. Mower, we're going to tractor tomorrow. We've had the broom on and the front end loader on it, but the roadside mower will be going on tomorrow. That's a rainy day project, don't take long. That's what we gotta do. Brake line repair tomorrow on the 550. The old 550 that we have out here was not too much maintenance and was kind of lax on being washed and not being neutralized from the road salt over the year. And we've replaced just about all the brake lines on that vehicle out there that have rusted through, except this last one. So tomorrow we'll take care of that. I would like to offer to the board, there's a truck there that come next year. I'd like to get through the winter. I'd like to see the truck offered for trade-in, and we upgrade and look at getting another truck so that we keep our fleet of trucks new. We have one more year of that, and I would say that we offer that. We took a look at the liquid fuels numbers that we have in there today. We have an allocation that we're allowed to use out of our liquid fuels, and that fund has slowly but surely got built to the point that we now have $100 and some thousand worth of money that we can buy equipment with out of that, which we never had before.
Well, that's our percentage that we're allowed for
That's our
equipment.
percentage that we're allowed out of it that we can spend for that. So those numbers were awful low in the past. We didn't have that. But we're working on it, working on making it better and still paving roads. I do have a couple $100,000 project that's going into the budget for next year. I got preliminary figures, and I would love to see us get out of the finalization of the dirt road in Penn Township and get that section of Linton Hill down there. It's traveled more than what people think. We put stone on it, you repair it in the summertime, in the wintertime, you snow plow it, you plow it all back off. And we got rid of that problem in Hawes. And believe me, it's cost effective when you don't have to do that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
you and attended the seminar.
Tom,
Is there grant money available to, I mean, out of that seminar, was there grant money offered to help pay for that?
that was for dirt road. And at the present time, they're working on that, but they don't have anything out there yet on the blacktop part of it. I haven't been told there was. Last I talked to Todd Brakovich up there, there was monies out there for the dirt road projects. And they're strict what you gotta do. You gotta have head walls and end walls and all your culverts. It's a pretty, and they follow those guidelines pretty stringent, you know, on that. But with the new transportation bill, there was supposed to be monies for some of that, but it would not put the base down. I don't believe maybe the blacktop, but maybe not the 6-inch base to be rolled in. That's a whole new road out there. So the bid proposal that I've got is to put 6 inches of modified down, have it rolled. And this has been worked out with our liquid fuels man. He comes out and so it's putting a good road in there and then putting your base on plus your wearing on top of it. It's a new road, just can't go blacktop over top of what you got, fellas. Just can't do it. But I'd like to see that, and then that's good for a lot of years out there. There's a small portion of it that is blacktop that you'll be able to do an overlay, but there is a portion of it out there that you can't do the overlay on. You're gonna have to put new road down, a whole base. So,
Can I say something? I want to ask you about the entrance right there by the antique barn where those concrete trucks pull onto 11 and 15 and go in. There's one heck of a hole there. There's a pothole. I don't know if it's Penn Township's responsibility or PennDOT.
Some of that goes out into PennDOT, some of that we take care of. As a matter of fact, we finished up at Ashmore today. Tom and us looked at that, and we also looked at the one the end of Sawmill. We're well aware of it. No sense of getting in an argument with PennDOT. We pave our roads out to the joining of PennDOT. That one does need filled in. It's right there coming in the entrance of Schoolhouse. I know exactly where you're talking.
You know, those slide tandems there, when they go out in there, they're just making that hole deeper and
Yeah.
deeper.
And that's the Boger trucks.
You know,
They're the ones that's doing it.
so I don't know if that's an issue with Penn Township or, because it's right there where you butt into 11 and 15.
It's on the grease board out there in the shed to be done. Just one of those things you gotta get to. And believe me, there's plenty out there to do. Brake line repair on the truck tomorrow. Quantity price on anti-skid, I expect that this week. Took a look at getting 200 ton of it. We went back and took a look at the last time of what we used back in 2004, 5, when we bought the anti-skid. And we're in the process of getting a bulk price on that, because we gotta take a new look at that. New truck bids. I know there's people interested in that. We talked about a new truck bid. I have one here in front of me waiting for another one. We went competitive here, Dodge against Ford. There is a bid here. I will not give you the complete number on it until I get the other one, so don't get back to the competitors. But there is a price here for the new pickup truck on the trade-in with the old one, with a new plow on it, and everything that comes with that truck for less than $20,000. For a 350 Ford, four-wheel drive. I almost fell over when I got the price, Stanley. You'd buy two of them if you had a chance for that.
Got that right.
And so I was really happy with that. We don't know what we're coming back from the other bidder. He was here this morning, and he gave us a price flat out in the truck, and then missed giving us a price on the trade-in with the plow, without the plow. So everybody's bidding on the same thing. As soon as we hear from that, I'll refer that to the supervisors and hope that we can get it ordered and get it on its way. And so.
And these are CoStar's bids, so
And
they don't
yes,
have to be
these are
advertised.
CoStar bids, yes. So that's where we're at on the truck bids. I thought that the other one would be in today. The guy said he'd try to get it faxed in, but it's not here. Okay. That's all I have to offer on the highway report.
The grader.
The grader bids there, it's before you. We have a gentleman here tonight that was interested in that. And the high bid on the grader come in at $7,535. There was Greg Daimler Scrap Purchasing offered $1,775, and Chris Wilhide offered $1,510. And that is from Center Township, the gentleman sitting here tonight.
You can drive it home.
Yeah.
Already.
I'm game everywhere I go, it don't matter what's in my road.
Where's your shed located in the center?
Right beside Jimmy Swift's is up above Carnes. Carnes fruit store there.
Up there?
Yeah.
Cold
Storage
Storage
Road.
Okay. I thought about delivering it for you.
That's all right.
Okay. Yeah. There's a tank full of fuel and I'd like to run that out.
I better put some brakes on this first.
Okay. Okay. What is the wish of the board in regards to awarding that grader bid?
And you are aware of the conditions and everything that's,
I drove it already, yeah.
okay?
You don't know what condition it is until you come up look at my old one.
So if it doesn't work the way you want it to work, you're not
I'll
gonna
take
come back
the
and be
parts
mad at
off, I'll
us.
take the parts off of that one and put it on this one.
I move that the bid be accepted from Center Township for $7,535.
I second that.
Okay, motion made with the second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Okay. This over here. Penn Township Planning Commission, zoning ordinance update.
Yes, this was tabled last month on whether you wish the planning commission to review and submit something to you for outdoor furnaces, wind turbines, and solar energy systems.
Okay, that was submitted for review of the supervisors. Is there any comments on those three issues that they have here that they wish to address here on the zoning ordinance update? Okay, that was quite a packet that they gave us with that, okay? I sat and read through that packet and all the information that was in it. One of the items that they addressed was outdoor furnaces. And attaches some information for you regarding outdoor furnaces. DEP regulates the furnaces now. If we start regulation, we will have to regulate all aspects.
Including the air quality and
yeah.
all that.
And it is of my opinion that we recommend to them, this is my opinion, and I'm gonna throw my 3 cents in on the 3 articles, and then having that said, I'll let the other 2 supervisors remark on it. I think that we ought to keep our fingers off of that and stay out of that particular regulation and let that be regulated on that environmental part of it, which is all coming from DEP. They have one on wind turbines. Do I have anything against wind turbines other than I would hate to see them ringed around the Cove Mountain, and that's the only place that we have in Penn Township that I know that they would probably be satisfactorily where you could get any wind. Then there's the on-lot or the private ones, the small ones that people have, that they tie into the grid, they generate electric on their own part. I would, in my opinion, that we offer to them to take a look at the areas where they would let them. You wouldn't want someone, say like in a house-to-house in Susquehanna Hills or in some of the developments where they're right side by side with that thing outside there whooping around while you're sitting there next door. I think there's a place for them where they can be allowed, and I think there's a place where they ought to take a look and put regulations and also make provisions for conditional use for them in some areas due to the nature of it. Things may change and develop that they would be allowed. That's my opinion on the solar systems. I recently went to Mansfield to see the granddaughter at college over the weekend. I could not believe the amount of windmills I saw in the mountains up there. Huge, I just could not believe it. Everywhere. I did not know they were there. I'm not sure that I would want to see them. The Game Commission up here owns most of this ground around the top up here. That's my personal opinion on them. I think it would, I'd like to see them, but I don't think I would want one of them on my property. So, and number 3 was solar energy systems, which I think is a great thing. I also have some reserves about them. You have your condensed housing. You have your developments where you're house against house. I would say that solar energy should be taken a look at on a basis that someone couldn't put up a big panel out there where they shielded the sun or shielded something that affected that neighbor's backyard, the swimming pool, or the areas where it went. It's a tough thing to regulate up on the roof. You have a larger place. If someone had a lot of acreage and whatnot, they want to put a large solar panel out there for whatever use. A lot of farms are heating huge buildings with them today, and a lot of other. I think there's a place for them, but I would recommend that the Planning Commission take a look at those 2 items that the supervisors jot down, if they wish to do that, their thoughts on what ought to be taken a look at for the planning commission to entertain, take a look. Planning commission would appreciate an answer on the desire to proceed or not to proceed. I would offer that I think those two items I would like to see them proceed with on a limited matter. And I think that the planning commission would react to that properly. That would deny maybe some, but not all, and the cosmetic effect and where they could be put could have impact on other people. So that's my comments. I'll wait for the other two supervisors to offer their comments for the decision to be made.
Well, I do agree with reference to number one there with the outdoor furnaces. Again, I think DEP we should keep our hands off of it, let DEP do that. Because it's gonna be extra accrued expenses on the township. Who's gonna determine, there's gonna be standard of air quality. Who are we gonna send out there to test air quality? And it could be at 2 o'clock in the morning, it could be mid-afternoon. When do those testings get done to determine the amount of emissions? So I'd say let DEP keep their hands on it and we can stay off of it on that one there. Wind turbines, we should look at it. Reason is, there's all kinds of wind turbines out there. Driving throughout the Midwest, Kansas, Colorado, Arizona, there's huge ones right along Highway 25. 3 or 4 here, and there's actually wind farms where there's 15 or 20 or 30 of them. Out in the middle of the desert, not so effective, as in doesn't affect, because you could drive 45 minutes to an hour before you see another house, if you're lucky. All right? And they have large ranches out there to be able to do that. I've been up to State College, I've seen some of theirs up there. I believe that there's personal windmills that people can have in their backyards, or small ones just for their personal use. I don't think they're almost just like something that we would have seen in backyards 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years ago, pumping wells or whatever have you. But with the wind turbines, I believe we should look at those because there is personal use, and then there is also commercial use where they're actually renting them out, their property out like cell towers, so we should look at that. And then where they can be put, and what size and where. And then again, solar power, there's so many different versions of the solar power. You have roofs. You can go to Harrisburg and find parking lots where companies have built solar panels in their parking lot and the stall people park underneath them. And throughout Harrisburg, they have several of those. On top of buildings, wherever have you. I would recommend for them to check with, I'm not quite sure of the township, but Lancaster County has quite a few solar farms. I would recommend that maybe they would contact Lancaster County and see what their townships are doing and what the county's doing with, converting farmland into solar fields or farms. So I think it's something that we will see here in the future, and we need to address those and have those things in place.
We already have some solar panels on ground and on roofs.
Yeah. But I mean, the magnitude that they're going, solar power is probably more reliant than wind power. I see wind power not really going much further than it really is, unless they come up with new technology. Unless they come up with a new technology, because they're very expensive to repair and the life of them aren't very long. So we don't want to see abandoned.
Yeah.
Wind turbines.
Brian, do you have anything to offer on those comments?
I think we're in agreement. I would like to see the planning commission look into wind turbines and solar
Okay.
energy systems.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we forward to the planning commission that take a look at the number 2, the wind turbines, number 3, and each supervisor submit his comments or his ideas, what he'd like to see as for something for them to take a look at.
Okay.
I'm sure they have their own ideas. The packet shows
Yeah.
different ideas and everything that's in there. Make that a form of motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Their next meeting is the 20th of October.
Okay.
If you can
We
get
need
that
to get that
time.
information back to them, Helen?
Yeah.
Okay?
Mhm. That's all I have for planning commission.
Zoning report. Hillbridge zoning hearing board before you. Okay?
Okay.
And this is only a matter of whether we wish to be party to the zoning hearing.
Yes, for
Yes, sir.
Brent Hillbush,
Yeah,
yes.
for Brent Hillbridge. And that's in regards to the building across the road on Burley down there, the pole building. As has been customary, if it's something that's of a greater nature than that, my personal feeling is that the supervisors, I for one, don't feel that we have to participate in that zoning hearing board decision.
Okay,
Well, I have nothing to offer against it. If it was something that I had concerns about, I would go to the hearing board or ask to go to the hearing board to express those concerns.
you've seen the planning commission's recommendation?
Yep.
What about that? If it changes at any time to a commercial use, then they would need a land development. Do you wish to have that put forward to the zoning hearing board or not? The variance he's asking for is to have a accessory building
Yeah.
on a lot that does not have a primary use.
Yeah.
But that lot is connected to,
Is it zone commercial, that lot?
yes, it's zone
Yes.
commercial.
Yes. So theoretically, they could have a commercial operation in there.
Yes, but the use is going to be residential?
Storage.
Yeah.
Right.
What is the wish of the board?
Well, I like to see it stated that if it does, the concern of the board is, of the commission is, their concern is that down the road, the property could be used for commercial use. But its intention right now is for residential. So I'd like to see it stated that they have to come back before, if there is a change of use of that structure to commercial, that it has to be resubmitted to the land development plan.
Okay. Question, if you guys agree to that, by letter, by someone coming and representing this board?
Unless someone wants to go to the meeting, how will I make a motion? It'll be represented, those thoughts, you'll be at the.
I'll be at
that
it.
meeting, that'll be done by letter.
Okay,
Unless someone wishes to attend personally to state their reasoning.
that's the second Thursday, Brian.
Someone wishes to attend it, they can make that statement there. That is the concern of the supervisors if you want to be party to the action, okay?
I'll second that motion, but we need to act on the statement regarding the changes to commercial use. So do you want to vote on the motion to respond by letter first, which you already made and I seconded?
Yes, I have a motion made and second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Respond by letter, Hal.
Okay,
Okay. And if there's any supervisor wishes to go to express the same or that sentence, so be it.
Do we also want to, in the letter, put the condition about the change to commercial use
Yes.
requiring land development plan?
Yes, I'd like to make the motion then,
Okay.
that we go ahead and take the recommendation for it to be used as a residential to primary house located across the street. And then the recommendation, I ask that if any time that these changes to a commercial use of land development plan would be needed, that they would have to come back to get the land development plan changed to make it residential to commercial.
Okay, motion made, I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
he second.
Oh, you second?
No, I.
No.
Oh, I
no.
thought you did.
No,
No, he
Sorry.
just brought it to our
Okay.
attention to do it.
But I will second.
I already have. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered, Helen.
Okay.
Okay.
The next thing is, the authority is submitting a conditional use for their Sunshine Hill water system update. There's two parts. We'll have to set a hearing date for them. And the planning commission recommended approval of the conditional use with the condition that a planting strip for screening is installed for the adjoining existing residential uses. And the second part is they're asking for a waiver of the escrow fee, which is $250. That means we will pay for the advertising, the stenographer, letters, if we waive the fee.
We'll deal with the fee issue, Helen. I make a motion that we grant the waiver of fees for our municipal authority in regards to the conditional use here.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Okay.
Okay.
Your 60 days is up on November 16th. So you have time, 2 weeks advertising, which would be,
It's not a major one. I'd like to try to schedule for
the
bit prior to our meeting.
29th.
Yep.
Okay. 6 PM?
6 PM would be fine with me. How about the other two?
That's good. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I'll do that. That's just FYI, it's not on your packets tonight. We received a request for a zoning map change. That is going through the process. You've looked at it. I'll give you the plans. That will be at the Planning Commission meeting on the 20th. I'll get you a copy. And he's asking to change partial of his property to commercial so he can go ahead with a land development plan for storage, public storage sheds. And this is across from the fire company's
Yeah.
property.
I think that's a parcel of ground. Wasn't that the request that it not be commercial years ago? But
It was at the very beginning,
Yeah, it was at the very beginning.
because there's commercial on
Now,
either
both either
side.
side of him, and he didn't want it out along 274 then. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's that at, Helen?
It's across from on 274 going out, across from the fire company, Mr. Zeitz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Zients.
That's all I have.
Storage
under-
Enforcement Officer reports before you.
Yep.
Okay. Penn Township Park and Rec Board report.
Yeah, my report. The only thing we have going on right now is our fall cleanup. October 25th from 2 to 4 p.m. is our Halloween party up here. And our senior lunches will resume October 28th
Okay.
at 10 o'clock. That's all I have.
Tomorrow we got a rainy day. I saw Nevin today when he was in and told him when he's done mowing grass, let us know. We'll take the mowers out, service them, grease them, change oil in them like we always do. Put new oil filters in them, put new blades on them like we do. Take the batteries out, keep them in the warm, and put the lawnmowers back up in the shed for the winter. Okay, so then we're going to shut the water heater down tomorrow, if it's okay, and drain that so we don't burn the elements up.
Again.
Okay? And we'll be taking care of that, and we're gonna leave the water on to a later date to the building, but we are gonna address that. Okay?
Thank you.
Anything else you need from us other than a doorknob on downstairs?
Nope.
We're gonna take care of that tomorrow also in the rain.
Yeah.
Do we have, Helen, do we have an extra set of keys on for that?
No, I gotta make them.
Okay.
Okay?
That's why we needed the new doorknobs.
That's all I have.
Penn Township Municipal Authority, sewage complaint?
Yes, we received a sewage complaint from the authority. Lenny went out and looked at it. You have his report. He's asking, he did not know there's any order. He cannot say whether it's sewage or not. Probably, there's a pipe that appears that could be sort of a footer drain or sump pump drain. That could be the cause. And he says to be positive it's not, He'd have to get a sample for lab testing. And he needs to know if you wish to do that.
He indicates there's a pipe that appears some sort of footer drain or sump pump drain could be a significant cause of the situation. But he did not notice any odor, there's a report to be positive. I make a motion that we authorize him to, or I can't have Mr. Chisholm do that on the municipal authority, nickel, or I would CC. With the water testing. I make a motion that we authorize Lenny to take a sample of that water for all it's gonna cost to see what it is. If we got an odor problem down there, they've been trying to detect this down here where it's coming from a long time. This is part of improving that. I'm making a formal motion to that effect.
Henry, where's the odor, where's this place at that you hear this breeze?
It's 1109
State Road.
State Road. And don't know where it's coming from or what it is, but there's an area down there where people say we're getting a sewer odor. We don't know whether it's venting out of the house due to the atmospheric conditions or where it's coming from or whatnot. I do know that the one manhole up in the schoolhouse did emit a terrible odor until they sealed that one. So somewhere we're searching for this odor. We'll do our part to have that water sampled down there to see where it's coming from. And that's the best we can do at the present time to try to keep, I know the authority's been trying to run it down where it's coming from.
I'll make sure they get a copy of this.
Okay?
I second the motion.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
That's all I have. I don't know
Okay.
if you two have anything.
Well, on that note, there's been question back and forth about whether septic tanks have been pumped and filled on the transition of going from the septic systems to the municipal sewer system. Cooperation between the municipal authority and the township secretary, we're trying to compare our records to see which tanks could have been missed in that process of inspection. Just a note here, there was back on, I'm gonna say somewhere around this July 16th of 2008, the last marking here from our inspector
Yes.
states here that the septic tank at that property that in question was not pumped and was not filled. There's question whether or not who's supposed to go back to check on those, who was supposed to check on those, is being worked out between the municipal authority and the township to try to find out, which properties might have been missed in that process. So it's something that's ongoing that in cooperation with the municipal authority to resolve.
Yeah.
So if possible, could you check your record? Well, this is what,
That's one of our records, yeah.
this is what just recently out of that book you showed me.
Well, that's in the book, but that's actually came from the authority with their letter.
Okay, so I guess we need to see if there's any follow-up on our part in that book. So if
Okay.
you could research that address.
Yeah.
And that would help if there is a sewer problem. It would eliminate that at least at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a combination of what for records the municipal authority has that shows that were done, and a combination of our records to make a comparison to those that didn't. And that's, it was left up to the homeowners that was what their requirement were, and a lot didn't do it. Okay? So, that process is in the making. Yes. Okay? Secretary's report.
Okay. The first thing I have is an NPDS report for Mr. Schaefer's pond. I think that's a pond. Yes. Basically, they're asking us for our land use letter, whether, if it's applicable to zoning and all that. And if we have any comments or challenge or anything like that for it.
Helen, who is NPDES?
Help me, Max.
National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit.
That was easy for you to say.
Yeah,
Actually, this is related
No.
to stormwater.
yeah, this is the
discharges as opposed
stormwater, he
to-
already did it in
As opposed
PDS.
to a
Yeah.
wastewater discharge from the treatment plants.
Mhm.
Both of them have NPDS permits.
Yeah.
With
When
our
we
luck-
have-
With our luck, farmers will be next in the future.
This is just a renewal, he's trying to put a
Yeah.
pond in, Lee.
I was gonna say, this is the one he got before.
I
Yeah,
was wondering
yeah.
what it-
Yeah, yeah.
The one he had before, and it must have lapsed.
Well, it's lapsed because with the rain we've had back there, where he wants to put the pond, it's nothing but a wetland. And hoping for it to dry up enough to get in there. That's the problem. They dug deep probes in there and found that there is water underneath to fill this pond. So it's nothing more than a reapplication, reapplying, staying up to date so that they can get it done.
Okay,
If you
so
don't get it done
basically
this
give the
fall,
same
you're gonna
answers?
Work on it next year.
Same answers as last time then?
Yeah, it's identical for the same thing.
Okay.
He has the head walls and all that stuff blocked, sitting back there to do it. Just can't get in to do it. It is drying up. Maybe it'll get done yet this year.
Wait till it freezes.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a problem.
Ice
yeah.
skating.
It's a problem. I think they're gonna have to run a pump the whole time they're excavating,
Probably.
is what I see.
Motion?
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I can send it to you before I mail it. The answers.
Yeah. I make a motion that we give Helen the authority to fill it out in the same form that was filled out before,
Yeah.
because it's just a renewal of the very same thing. It lapsed and it's a renewal. So nothing would change on the answering of it, in my mind. So I'll make a
Okay.
motion that we allow Helen to do that. Forward the information back to the supervisors so the permit can be put in effect.
I second the motion.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Okay, and this is the time of year I asked if you wish to, in October, pay the other $25,000 donation to the fire company for the capital reserve.
Okay. You're lucky, Brian. I sat and looked at the budget all day today. I make a motion that we forward that $25,000 to the fire company donation, the same as we did last year. Okay?
I second the motion.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes, ayes,
No.
okay? Okay,
Okay?
okay, okay. Motion carried. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Okay.
Ayes have it.
Henry,
Yes,
in prior meeting, I asked to the status of that, how much money's in there, what they got left in reserve, if they're putting $25,000 on top of it. Your capital reserve is, what, 4 years, 5 years now, that's potential $125,000, that's like one.
There's the annual payment of 51,000 coming out of it, and then there's a monthly payment of 1,000 coming out of it for our 2% loan for our new rescue pumper. And we take in less than that for capital reserve each year.
But then 25 going in on top of how much?
I couldn't answer that.
That'd be-
Treasurer.
yeah, that's an issue that,
You have our audit.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have your audit there,
Mhm.
yes. So the audit's there. If you wish to take a look at it, it's there I haven't looked at it yet, just got it. So, let them take a look at it. And those questions are questions that are internally with the fire company the donation was made for that usage. So I'll leave it at that. I don't think it's something that the board could discuss fully understanding or knowing exactly.
I thought the capital reserve was dedicated to an equipment fund that had to be approved by the township. That
Nope.
was the stipulation that was put on it initially.
No.
No, that's the understanding I had from
Yeah.
the very outset, 4 years ago.
You're gonna do matching funds with the other municipalities, is
No.
how you had stipulated it. You better go back and check your minutes.
That was never agreed upon. That was
You might
never,
wanna check your minutes.
that's never a the only stipulation was that it had to be used for fire apparatus
Fire
purposes.
apparatus,
And if
for
anything,
equipment.
if anything come up like a major repair or a maintenance issue, that we had to bring it before the board for.
I don't think there was anything that said they had to save that for 4 or 5 years or anything until they have
No, I wouldn't have
100,000 or anything
expected
like that, you know what I'm saying?
No, but on the capital reserve, it was supposed to be at the discretion of the board.
No.
No, I don't believe Jody.
You might
No,
wanna go back and
that's
check your
why I-
minutes.
Check the
That's
minutes.
why I
I'll
questioned.
check the
it.
minutes.
We'll check the minutes on it.
Because I never heard any conversation of you, of the three
I-
supervisors
I
approving any of that
believe-
expenditure.
We'll take a look at it.
There-
Thank you.
There
Okay.
was, and to go back on that, because of us dealing with 2 other municipalities on those expenses, that's why it wasn't put into effect that we'd have to go to each 3 municipalities and ask for approval on an expense. It was all agreed upon that between, there's only 2 municipalities that contribute to the capital reserve fund, which is Penn Township and Wheatfield Township, and that money is to be used for purchase of apparatus only. No repair, no maintenance, no small equipment, nothing like that. That is for vehicle purchases only.
Okay,
Okay. FYI, next month I'll be asking you guys regarding the Duncannon EMS donation.
okay,
Because that normally gets paid in November.
okay.
And then I have the Linker DEP, they're applying for a Chapter 105 joint permit for Mr. Linker's project. Their plans that, I left it out there, I was over in the office.
Yeah.
What his plan he's presented to this is a little different from the conditional use plan that was approved. There's no buildings on the newest plan. There's no, those dome tent things. And we checked with Rich today on whether that their plan is consistent with the conditional use approval. What he suggested was that we notify DEP, PennDOT, Corps of Engineers with a copy of the conditional use plan and a copy of the decision that we object that, as it appears that he's trying to present something that wasn't agreed upon to them. And send it, certified and all that.
The letter we got from Skelly and Loy and whatnot, Helen, which you had there, and talked to Rich in depth about that. And this is a little bit something trying to be presented to get something that's not really the way it is. And we picked up on it, caught it. That information is gonna be forwarded back to necessary people so that that permit will not be issued. So,
So you're gonna return this response letter and indicate
Well,
that and attach it?
that's he suggested a separate letter directly to PennDOT, the Corps of
Okay.
Engineers.
In addition to this?
And that's what's gonna be my question.
Right.
okay.
Because they're asking for a municipal land use response letter also.
Yeah, well, you could use that and say, no, it isn't. 'Cause there's a place on there
For the
that
zoning, yeah.
They have not received zoning approval because it appears, and then you
Yeah.
explain why, and attach the information. And They have to put that in with their application unless they can clear it with you.
I make a motion that we concur with the recommendation of Solicitor Wagner to get these letters out, Helen.
Okay,
And that additional letter there that Max and you were talking about would be forwarded in also.
okay. I'm sending a copy of the letter
Yeah.
with this
Okay.
response and a letter directly to DEP and Corps of Engineers, I'm asking. That I'm going to send it directly to them also and with this.
And with that, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, motion made, do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
And the last thing I have is the borough has approved the recycling contract, which would, for the same amount, so our portion would still be $200 a month, if you gentlemen are agreeable to continue that contract. And I'll get a copy from Linda.
I hear a motion to renew the contract, continue the contract.
I make that motion.
Motion made.
A second.
Second, all those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Engineers report.
You should have a copy of my report. It's pretty brief this month. There's been nice, easy month. Other than what I put in the report, I've had a couple of conversations concerning items, miscellaneous items with Helen and whoever.
Okay. Okay, you have before you the police report, the officer activity list is there in front of you.
Money's received are on the back. We completed our grant, the last grant we had, and we're looking at another one, probably starting in October. They did well on both grants, so they're continuing to give them to us.
How is well on those grants gauged?
Pardon?
How is well on those grants
The
gauged?
contacts and how many contacts the officers make.
And do you compare the contacts versus citations issued?
Excuse me?
Do you compare the contacts versus citations issued on those?
No, they're just contacts. Yeah. I mean, citations or warnings are still contacts.
And you don't require a citation to be issued with those contacts?
No. There's a zero tolerance like this when we do a seatbelt thing. There's zero tolerance for that. There's definitely without seatbelt, definitely issues like that.
Yes, Dan.
Are we renting officers out to the school?
Yeah, we do the football games,
What do we get per hour for that?
$25 an hour.
$25 per hour?
It's usually about 3 hours unless they have problems with the games. And sometimes they'll ask us to come in a little early, or they may ask us to stay a little late, but it's usually about 3 hours.
Okay, solicitor's not here. We're going to have a report. He covered everything he was in earlier. Permit report.
You have it before you. You'll notice on the other permit report thing, we now have wireless permits listed. We got our first one done. And that was to hook up off of Butcher Shop Road. Yeah, Rob's.
Oh,
Yep.
yes, out there at the tower.
An additional carrier?
What was that, Max?
Was that an additional
Yeah,
carrier?
T-Mobile, yeah.
They run a fiber optics in there, didn't make the connection from the pole into the tower. And that connection fee was there for them to tie onto. Okay. Correspondence, Perry County Winter Partnership.
They're asking if anyone wants to go to that. It's on October 2nd from 8 to 11 at Little Buffalo State Park.
What's that for, Mel?
You've been to them, Henry.
I guess get coffee and donuts, Lee. No. That would be an old Cliff. That would be I remember Cliff Taylor used to always say it. Yes, I've attended to them. They go up. The Department of Transportation has an offering out there as to whether you want to be involved, or they take a look at the partnering thing where you can do for them what they'll could do for you. You know what I'm saying? You can swap back and forth.
With
on,
the state?
Huh?
With the state?
With the state, yeah. We've stayed away from it. I've listened to their programs that they have up there. There is some items up there that are informative, and what I get out of it, that you get the most out of it, is listening to the mileage on roads that the state puts out here, what for a time frame they allow for their truck for every so many miles. It's a good comparison thing for what the state does for the township to take a look at in comparison. If you have so many miles, they give you 45 minutes for a round trip. If you got so many more miles on some of your roads, an hour and a half for a round trip. And I've used those comparisons around here, and we do pretty well on getting around a little bit shorter time than what they have out there. They're, new ideas are presented, for anti-skid or whatnot, but they, makes you aware also, like last year, they came around with this pardoning thing, wanting to know whether we had salt or salt to give. Okay? We were lucky. We had salt. They also want to know whether they could get salt off of us if we had excess. How about you guys in Center? Remember when they made that application here, Pickles? They come in and want to know whether we had that. You guys involved in a partnership with them where you exchange any labor or any roads?
We don't push any of the roads.
Yeah, no,
There's other townships that do up to upper end. They pay them
yeah.
to do it. And, the thing is, you don't know when you're on call.
That's the problem.
That's the catch.
And
you
that's
don't
the
know-
catch.
You don't know if you're putting enough aggregate down, now they can. They just had one up in Millersburg
Yeah.
last week up there. It was an all-day session with Mr. Fleming from the state. It was more than what's out in the state park.
Yeah,
But we're supposed to have a rough winter according to what their scale is.
what their scale is, so.
So,
And they go up there, it's interesting, to listen their ideas against the way you're operating or whatnot, but I've never gotten involved because.
they're coming out now with new dump trucks. There's 25 being made down in Volvo, down in Shippensburg. They're gonna set up in the air real high. You're not gonna be able to go underneath them if they hit you. But they're coming out with big trucks now with different automatics and everything. It's coming out with. I was at the class the other week and we had another one down at Lower Allen. Lower Allen's got 204 miles of road they take care of.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to believe.
That's hard to believe, isn't it?
You go down there and go in their place, I wanna tell you something. They're in the township up here, compared to the boys, I'll tell you what, it's someplace.
Yeah. We've got,
100 employees,
yeah,
it's just hard to believe. There's not many people could be employed by a township down there, but it's big. Well, Hampton Township's the same size. It's big. I mean, everything they have is a separate dwelling. No wonder it's expensive to live over here, it's expensive. But they want us to take over roads the same as you guys,
Yeah.
but we won't take them over. We get out, we plow them off anyway. I don't pick the plow. I tell the guys, let the plows down. We have to, every one of our roads up on the state road, so you might as well plow them. Yeah, I tell you, you should go on over top of them. They're all hard carbide tips, so, and that's new stuff coming out now too. Everything's coming out different. And that's the bad thing about it, everything's electronics.
yeah.
And when it breaks, it's not gonna be hydraulic problem. You better know how to fix electronics real quick, because it's just gonna drive you up the wall.
Well, I've been told, but I never felt that they had anything to offer in exchange that was favorable to the township, because it really tied you down to a section of road that you had to,
Well, you'll find it out when you buy a new dump truck.
yeah.
But now you got that EPA stuff you have to put into
Yeah,
it
yeah.
and everything, and it's, ours, we have to do that with it, but, that's why we haven't decided to trade off, get a new truck, so. Oh, well.
Okay, if there's none of the other two supervisors wish to go, once again, I'll attend, it's brief. They say 8 to 11, but it's usually over in about 2 hours.
9:30.
And, yeah, and I was surprised the amount of people that don't show.
Not many.
Not many. It's, so Helen, there's no cost to it.
No, just have
Take
to
the time
register
and
you.
go.
Yeah.
Okay?
The other thing I have is a PA1 call. They're asking if we have any nominations for the new term, which will expire in 2019. We would be under the general members, municipal general, if we wanted to nominate someone.
Sam's doing that at the present time for us.
He's doing the markings,
He's doing the marketing.
and if he's not there, you and Ed.
Okay.
But this is to sit on their board of directors.
Yeah, I know it.
I don't think it's even close.
How about the other two supervisors?
I have no interest.
Okay,
Not at this time.
okay.
Right at lips.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
old
all.
business, the Tashik bid, okay?
You have to either accept it or deny it.
Okay. This time, in lieu of what all took place at the last meeting, I make a motion that we deny that bid of 10,000 over the 500.
I second the motion.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. New business, newsletter?
Newsletter is to be, it's going to be picked up Friday, mail it Monday, and I'm requesting to be paid for that on the next payroll.
Okay. Will be advertisement locally and et cetera for our fall cleanup?
Yes,
16th, 17th, and 18th?
I've already put it on the webpage, I'll put it on the cable, and it'll be in the newsletter.
Okay. So come out and take advantage of that. Seems each year we're getting less and less material.
Yes, it's finally working.
Huh? So it must be working, yeah.
What's the amount that you need paid on?
It's $1,000. That's what's in the budget.
Is this for mailing?
No, this is for doing it up and
Or? Okay.
putting all the little tabs on it and
Okay.
labels and,
Okay. We paid you in the past for it?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I make the motion, we pay Helen.
Okay. Motion been made that Helen be paid for the production of the newsletter. So I need a second, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion made, second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Okay, and the last thing I have is the budget. I need a date, and I'm requesting not the 15th of October. I have a meeting up at Perry County for cap tax and Perry County Tax Collection Bureau.
And not the 22nd. I won't be in that day.
You have the draft in front of you. Under the general fund expenses, there's 2 lines that are highlighted with no numbers. We have to figure out how much gallons to take out of the regular diesel for that, for the park and rec and the authority, I believe it is, yeah. But other than that, there's the numbers. Look at them. Change them. And I will have the update of bills as to date on the next, before the next budget meeting. I just have to wait until these bills were paid. So what day are you looking at?
You said the 15th was out and the 22nd?
I would prefer not the 15th. I've tried that. It doesn't work too easy getting the 2 meetings that night.
I said the day the 14th would be fine. That makes
Yeah.
the date, doesn't it, Helen?
Yeah, makes fine for me.
16th,
Yeah, that's Thursday.
that's Thursday.
Most people don't want Friday.
Yeah, and that's the first day of the fall cleanup, but that doesn't affect that.
My schedule's open both of those days, the 14th and the 16th.
Thank you.
What's your, Brian?
I don't have anything to do with that.
14th?
Don't worry.
Okay.
14th?
What time?
Thank you.
6, 7?
Yep. Time.
It's up to you guys.
6 o'clock too early?
Okay.
6 o'clock's fine with me, on the budget.
Okay, then I'll advertise it for any other business.
Yep,
Okay.
in case there's anything else there, Helen.
Okay.
You got, I would offer to both supervisors to take a hard look at the budget, the numbers. Helen has the update as close as we are on the budget items, where we stand.
As of the end of August, and I'll have the September ones to you.
You'll have the September one, so that you can make comparisons, what was proposed and what's spent and what isn't. So,
Yeah.
I'm kicking the park and rec over there.
Before we adjourn, I do have one question here.
I'm kicking the park and rec that night over the big room.
Chief Nichols, question for you. When we're sitting in the center lanes in front of the school zone areas, I've received a lot of concerns and complaints from people in the area, our township and other townships that travel. I know for myself, the other morning, it was quite foggy. It wasn't until I was on top of the black vehicle before I saw any lights whatsoever. Just for safety of our officers and who's attending that zone, is it possible for us, for our vehicles, at least have their four-ways on or have the flashing lights on to at least alert people that you're there?
We have the brake lights on, I mean, they're.
You're sitting in a
Should be able
park,
to see that.
yeah, but when you're coming through fog, you don't see those lights until the last minute.
Yeah, we're usually not there if it's super foggy, but
Well,
if we,
the other morning when I came
if there's a
through,
good,
I'm just, there's a lot of concerns, a lot of, and the safety of our officers. I know the purpose of doing that is to stop people from cutting into that lane and trying to get into the school before they get, actually the lane opens for them to turn. I guess that's the reason they're there.
well, that'd be the northbound, if we were in the northbound one, but not the southbound, there's no turning on the southbound. There's nothing but railroad property on the southbound side.
Correct, well, but then there's
We're-
vehicles on both sides.
We're checking, well, sometimes there are, but, we're checking
Okay, I'm just
speed
asking
and
for
everything
safety of
else.
our
We're watching
officers, that we at least have a
the safety
four-way,
of the children.
that we have four ways on or flashing or safety lights. And then,
Yeah, gee, like I said, if,
it's not a hard request.
yeah, I mean, we have the brake lights on and,
Going the other way, won't see them.
well, you'll see the vehicle with and coming the other way, I mean, I see.
I don't
I
get
mean,
it.
I don't have any, when we sit there, I mean, I don't have any problem seeing, good football field or two away, I don't see a problem. There are a lot of complaints because a lot of people do wanna get in the center lane and pass everybody. And instead of going 15 miles an hour, they go 30, 35, 45 miles an hour. It's, it's
So it is a speed enforcement.
speed enforcement and passing too.
Pattern
Sometimes
enforcement.
people will pass coming through there too. And we get a lot of complaints coming,
Good,
from
oh,
people,
agree,
yeah.
agree, and I believe in the safety part of it, I also believe in the safety part. I know in any construction zone or any type of other zones, I see state troopers with their lights on, sometimes not even anybody in them, okay?
Yeah, they
And that's to
put
warn
guards
people
out.
that there's something coming up. I just think for the safety of our officers and the public, I just would like to see maybe a four ways on, hazard lights on, or our flashing lights
Yeah,
on.
probably in a fog, if we are up there in fog, yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. Yeah, we could probably entertain that, sure.
Anything else?
Not for me.
Hearing nothing, I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second the motion.
Motion made with a second, all those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.